Welcome to Book Huddle. I'm your host, Karen Reeder with Readgab. Today we're welcoming guest Rebecca Morrison. Thank you for joining us today, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me, Karen.
She wrote this beautiful book that just, my heart was just full and it was just wow. And we are going to get so into the blue dress today and I can't wait. But Rebecca, first take a second, introduce yourself, tell us about you.
Yeah, I am from Iran. I was born in Iran and I left during the revolution, which is 47 years ago. Now that a lot, it's people are getting to know a lot about that time. And then, I became a lawyer. And that was my career for the 30 years. And then during the pandemic, I decided I really wanted to go after this thing that I'd always wanted, which was to write. And I just didn't think it was possible in middle life, a second career. I thought, how's that going to work? But I just did it. I just started writing and writing and writing and writing. And I published essays in big publications like Washington Post and HuffPost and stuff like that. And I started writing a memoir, my true story of my mother and I, and how we had a struggle about my body, about being an immigrant in America. And I met a publisher who said, you know what, you should turn this into a middle grade novel.
Nice.
And she was just trying, it was just advice.
Right.
And I spent the next, year really putting my story that I'd written a bunch of already into this fictionalized version of Yasmin, which is my middle name
Oh,
actually.
nice.
And I use that. So a lot of the book, is based on my real experiences. And I wrote her story, and even her best friend in the book, Carmen, is based on one of my friends that I've had since I was 14, who's from Mexico.
Are you still in contact?
We're very good friends. We're celebrating with her in a couple weeks.
Yay, good. I'm so glad that you're still friends. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right, to get to know a little bit about you, I love to do an author icebreaker based on another book. So we're going to use Allie Millington's Once for Yes and Olivetti. And I get so emotional. I just get emotional anyways.
Me
But my
too.
husband laughs at me because I get emotional about inanimate objects like a typewriter and a sapient building. And so tell
So cute.
us, what would you love to communicate with that is normally unable to
Yeah.
communicate?
Yeah. I love trees. I've always loved trees. When I was in Iran, and this I talk about it in the book, but it's true, I say it in the book, but it's a real thing. When I was a little girl in Iran, I loved our apple tree. We had a big apple tree. And I would climb it. I loved eating the apples from it. I think trees are so majestic and gorgeous, and they have history. So if I could talk to a tree, I would ask it about like all the things it's seen over the years. Even now, like when I see one of those huge trees that's been around probably for like 100 years, you wonder like all the progress it's seen and all the heartbreak and all the joy. And they're just beautiful. And they go up to the sky and they go down to the earth. It's like everything to me.
Right, right. I've got a book that just became available for me on Libby that is about a tree that can communicate, a
Oh,
middle
I love
grade book
that.
about trees. And I was like, all right, I'm in. I don't need to know anything else.
Yeah,
That sounds
totally.
just great.
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome. All right. Tell us more about the blue dress.
Blue Dress is, like I said, based on my life. It's about Yasmin. She's a 13-year-old girl who just came from Iran about a year and a half ago. And she's trying to fit into her school. She has a best friend, Carmen, who they're immigrants from Mexico. And You know, she has big curly hair
Yes.
and a lot of like changes are happening for her. Her body's changing, her body's becoming, different, bigger. And her mother thinks she needs to lose weight. So her mother's putting pressure on her to lose weight. At school, she feels different. She has a crush on a boy, and she thinks maybe if she was different, she could be popular, the boy could like her. And she makes some bad decisions. She made some maybe mistakes. And she has a secret, which she does something to try to lose weight, which is harmful. And she keeps that secret. And throughout the book, these mistakes and secrets build up, and have consequences,
Yeah.
and they're found out. And it's a story of hope of how different people in her life help her find herself, find belonging, find self-acceptance, find love, and start to have a good understanding and relationship with her mother, even though a bunch of the book, they have a really tough relationship.
Yes. Yes, and I love how complex your characters are, that there are so many levels to each person, that even the popular girl is not just,
Right. Right.
the mean girl that you have,
Mhm.
not stereotypical. Nobody is stereotypical. We get to see these layers and what they're like. You do an amazing job of doing that without getting us lost on description and things that
Mhm.
it just flows so beautifully. Let's
Thank you.
talk about
Mhm.
mom and
Okay.
the relationship, this complicated mother-daughter
Yeah.
relationship, and why open it up to middle grade.
Yeah. This is what I love to write about, probably the most. I think mother-daughter relationships are complex. There's so much love. I remember being a teen. I sometimes still feel like a teenager. I talk to my mom every day, and we had a really complicated relationship. I mean, this whole story is really true. We had a hard relationship, and we didn't understand each other. And there was love there. I wanted her love. And now as a mother, I understand she loved me. She thought she was doing the right thing by pushing me and doing these things that in the end ended up hurting me
Yes.
and creating, bad habits and me doing dangerous things to myself in terms of disordered eating for many years. And so this is such a serious topic, bulimia, disordered eating. And I was going to write this for adults.
Yes.
But not only did I meet this publisher who thought, girls need to hear this story,
Yes.
but also after I talked to a counselor at a middle school and did a lot of research, I realized that this is something girls are doing. They're struggling with. They have the secret starting very young and definitely in middle school. The counselor said to me almost every day, either it's the girl, or the kid, it's him or herself, or it's a friend, or it's somebody that's concerned that has relationships with body issues or disordered eating. It's happening.
Right.
I'm glad that, somebody gave me advice to make this for teens because if this could open a discussion between a teen and their mom, their dad, this is not just about mothers, but
Right.
I tell the story of a mother and daughter, but parents and children, especially those years, early teen years, preteen and teenage years, are these we have hormones and we're trying to fit in and we want all these things and it's hard to even explain it to ourselves, let alone our
Right.
parents. And again, the things that I say in there are true. I had a counselor who was so sweet. For me, it was fifth grade is exactly that scene, but for me, it was fifth grade. And I remember him so well. And I had a teacher that was awesome. So this is about teachers, counselors, parents, all, librarians having a resource to say, you take a look at this story. See
Yes.
if, opens up, kind of questions and allows you to be like, maybe I can tell somebody.
Yes, right. I asked you before, you're open to all this. Do you mind me asking?
No, not at all.
Because
Yeah.
mom
Hmm.
says in the book, she's like,
Hmm.
no, our lives are private. Has
Hmm.
this affected your mother-daughter relationship now with mom now
Absolutely.
that this is
Yes.
open?
No, I will tell you something. It was bumpy a little bit because when I only started writing about my life around 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I talked to my mom about it, and they're very private and
Right.
they don't want their stuff out there, which I
Yeah.
get. And my other family too. Like this is their, mother or their sister or their, friend. And I get that. This is a story, though, that I wanted to tell, not just because I think it's important for teens, but I think it's important for all women to know that there is hope for healing between mothers and daughters, parents and children, even when there's such a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Now, was it difficult for my mom? Absolutely. especially because I wrote, about this real story in national publications, and some of them were really widely read, like a lot, viral pieces. And my mom's friends read it, and at first she was like really hurt, and she
Yeah.
said, "Please don't write about it anymore. Don't write about me," which I get. I have children, and I
Right.
understand somebody talking about the mistakes you made as a mother is
Yeah.
difficult. But then she called me a couple hours after that discussion and said, "No, do it. This is important to you.
Oh,
This has
I could
purpose for you."
cry,
It's
Rebecca.
true. It's true. And I have a piece coming out in HuffPost where I talk about this exact conversation. And the title is very funny, and I told my mom about it. She sometimes jokes that I wrote this book and it's my revenge book. And then we laugh, and I say to her, this is really my love story. It's our love story because a mother, and I'm a mother, who is willing to say, tell your story, even if it makes my worst parts go, out in the world, because I love you, my daughter, so much. And I know the reality between us and that we love each other. I know it's you.
Just the yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
It's
need makeup
true.
today. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you to your mom. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Hard being a mom. It's hard being a mom.
It really is. And I feel like, moms out there, my daughter is 6, and I think about, the things I say to her already about what she thinks about her body and things that she'll grow up with a healthy. And
Hmm.
but I want her to have good eating habits. Just eat some vegetables because
Yeah.
you eat more than cake. And it's so hard though, because I'm like, oh, am I putting too much emphasis on this? And then I read this book and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, how am I acting? Like it's to me, it's also as a parenting book, you know what I mean? For
Yeah. I
how
do. I
it's
do.
like, even though she's 6, it's starting now, the
Hmm.
things I say and do of how she feels about her body. And I want her
Yeah.
to always be happy with it.
Yeah.
And I told a
Yeah.
friend recently because her daughter gained a lot of weight, and I was like, it's so normal during puberty. I was like, I know our bodies didn't do that when we were teens, but just
Yeah.
because ours didn't doesn't mean it's not normal
It's
for
true.
teens to go through that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, wow. Let's get more on the subject about bodies and
Hmm.
how to feel happy and
Hmm. Hmm.
secure about our bodies.
Yeah. I talk about this, in the book where the counselor tells Yasmin kind of things when once they start talking about it, about good and bad foods, about, we are all worthwhile and worth loving. I want to say that there's a difference between health issues and visual acceptance or visual, how our bodies look, especially as kids, as grown women too. And I write a lot about this. And I recently wrote a piece about the shift in ultra thin culture right now that a lot of people read it. It was the #1 trending piece on BuzzFeed. And it's because a lot of people are concerned that no matter what our value is, no matter how smart or good we are at school or careers that society or media or even, our community or even sometimes our parents put the way our body looks, how thin we are, above all those incredible achievements. And it's especially for women. Why do we have to be valued primarily by the way our body looks? First of all, we
Right.
are so many more things than that
Yes.
as girls, we athletes and intellectuals and curious and fun, all the interests that we have. As long as there's not a serious health concern, I will say that.
Right. Right.
But outside of that, we are different shapes and it's okay. And you
Yes.
can be happy and you can be successful and loved by the world. And the first person is yourself.
Yes.
Making sure you know you belong, you're worthwhile and you're worth loving. We are all worth loving. And that's what that's why I wrote the book, because I've been fighting this fight since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And ever since kind of like, my mom kind of pushed the other way, I pushed back and I said, no, I don't agree. I don't agree there's one way to be as a woman or a girl. There
Right.
isn't. Our bodies are different. They're shaped different. If they look a little different, that's okay. And I think all of them can be beautiful because beauty is such a big thing. It's about how we feel, how we smile, how kind we are, how we live in this world, how we treat other people, how we treat
Yes.
ourselves,
Yes.
what we accomplish. You know what I mean? And all those things make us beautiful. And I really believe that. And we project that out in the world. People believe it.
Yeah. And as we project it, like you were saying, start with you. Because if whether we're parents or we're teachers or librarians, whatever our influence we have, we're not going to help the young girls growing up to love their bodies if we don't love our own.
For sure. Yeah.
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 That's so important about how we can project it and be authentic about it, right? Be happy. I,
Yeah.
I love that quote from this movie a few years ago that every body is a swimsuit body. Whatever it is, we should be comfortable and
Yeah.
happy and have joy in it, and it shouldn't matter. And it is. It's so much in culture. My family travels to Europe for my husband's work, and it feels very different at the beaches there.
Hmm. Yeah.
And people are just you can tell as they walk around, they're comfortable in their bodies, that they're just like, yep,
Right. This is it.
yep, this is it. And I'm happy. That's so important.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we're talking about belonging and wanting to be authentic self, love it in the body, love
Right.
the skin that we're in, let's also talk because it's so big, emotions coming her way and
Right.
being an authentic self about an immigrant and things like that. So let's
Mhm.
shift a little bit to that now.
Yeah. So, right. Being an immigrant, especially, it's a topic we talk a lot about today in our culture, but in our society. And I'll say this, I love America. My mom says, and I've written this before in different articles, my mom said, you were American before you knew what America was. And it's something funny she says, and I love it. I always, even as a little girl, I was just like, why can't we have everything the boys have? Why can't I do anything that the boys want to do? Why, there shouldn't be different rules for us. We should be equal. And I grew up, kind of like strongly believe in that. Freedom and independence are super important, not just to me, to every person on this earth. And coming to America meant a lot to me. I love being American. We're not a perfect country,
No,
but no country is perfect.
no,
And I've traveled around to many places in America, in the Midwest, a lot. And people are good. Generally, people are good. And
no,
I think immigrants that come here make this country better,
I think so.
And all that to be said is that in the book, I love how Carmen and Yasmin, her family's from Mexico, Yasmin's family's from Iran, and I love how they start to understand each other, and there's such that their otherness makes them close, that they both experience some bumpy things from
Yeah,
other people. Even young people, I think we make mistakes no matter what age we are. So sometimes people say really hurtful things, and we don't know where that's coming from, that hurtful thing. All we can do is check in with ourselves and, share it with our families so that we can have those discussions of what it means to be from somewhere else, or your family, or your grandparents, your great grandparents, because that's what America is. We are a country of immigrants. And so talk about it. Sometimes it can be painful when somebody says something. And that I get that because, that's happened to me.
yeah,
But I think we can still be so hopeful because we all kind of want the same thing. We just want to belong. We want to live this life of like happiness and freedom and joy and family and prosperity. I hope the book is also hopeful too.
It is. It really is. And like I said, like the characters having so many different layers. And I know this would be a very different experience, but I'd really like you to go write a story about, oh, I lost her name, Zoe. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Zoe and Carmen, and I'd like to go hear their stories,
Yeah.
maybe going along at the same time or later. And I think if we even got to know Olivia and Hannah, we would see the good in them. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And there is good, and we can influence each other for good. And some people are mean and they just suck. But there are so many more layers. And like you said, at the end of the day, we want the same things, and
You want
let's
the same
find
thing.
that. Yeah.
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 Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
One thing I'd love your advice for on, because I feel like it can be hard to
Mhm.
share a book with a kid. For one, we don't know what kid needs the book a lot of times. By the
Hmm.
time we find out, I mean, yeah, it would be helpful for them to read it.
Hmm.
How do you share the blue dress with kids to like not be like, so maybe you have a problem eating. You know what I mean? How would you go about sharing it with kids?
Yeah, that's such a great question. This is what I would say is, oh yeah, I heard this book is, about this girl that comes here from another country and she has all these, friendship adventures and maybe couch it as she's got some complicated stuff with her mom, with her best friend, with the popular girls, and she kind of finds fun, she does fun stuff and she does art contests and she has secrets and maybe check it out, see how she deals with those fun things and bumps in the road. I don't know. That's such a good question. I
Right?
think at the core of it, it's a mother-daughter story.
Yes.
And I guess that's how, nobody's asked me that before. I think that what I would say is, especially to girls, or is this is a book, you might like. It's about mother-daughters and how sometimes they don't understand each other.
Yeah.
And how do we, they have conflict, just like
Yeah.
most teenagers have some conflict with their parents. It's a hard time. It's because of all the things that we're doing as 13-year-olds, as 12-year-olds,
Right.
11-year-olds, 15-year-olds. We are trying to be ourselves. I know, I'm talking like I'm the 13-year-old right now,
But
but that's how I feel
we have
sometimes.
that part of us still. We do.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday. I was in my mom's bathroom and I was just like so sad. And she's like, "Why are you so sad? What's going on? You have everything. You're here, you're safe, you have
Yes.
clothes, you have food, you go to school." And I remember feeling so bad. She doesn't get it. She
Right.
doesn't get how hard things are for me. And I know that a lot of kids feel that way,
Yes.
whether it's stuff going on at home, stuff going on at school. So
Yeah.
it's like, check out this book about this girl that's trying to navigate like her complicated school relationships and home relationships.
Yeah.
It'll make you cry,
Yes.
maybe, and it'll make you laugh a little bit. So
Yes.
that's what I would say, I guess.
Yes, it is. It's so heartwarming. And like you were saying, it transverses across
Yeah,
other things. Like maybe you
yeah,
don't have body image issues. Maybe you
right,
are the most content person with your
right.
body,
Yeah,
but you have friendship issues or parent issues, or
exactly.
there are issues somewhere in your life. And it's
Hmm.
about a girl learning to cope with that and
Yeah,
have healthy relationships too,
yeah, yeah,
because none of us are without issue. And also, we never know what our friends are going through because Carmen was her best friend.
yeah.
She had no idea about her mother's struggles or about her health issue struggles.
Right. And Carmen has stuff she's going through.
Yes.
And, that's the thing. Friendship stuff at school
Yes.
and parent stuff at home. Every teenager is dealing with that.
Right. Right.
Every kid is dealing with that.
Yeah.
There isn't a kid that's going to middle school or high school
Right.
that doesn't have some stuff at school that they're not telling their parents about,
Right.
or that they stuff that's going on at home that they're not telling their friends about. They're
Right.
trying to deal with it themselves. It's embarrassing to tell your parents that you're struggling at school.
Yeah.
I get it because
And what
that's,
and what do you do when you
what do
see
you
when
do?
you discover a friend, right?
Yeah,
What do you
right,
do? And that's
right.
great of seeing
Yeah,
about how to approach it and how to
yeah,
be a good friend on both
right.
sides. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what happens when you do make a mistake?
Yeah.
How do you
Forward.
apologize? You
Yeah.
know, and that it's going to be okay because we make mistakes, even big mistakes. And you know what? That's what I want kids to understand the scope of life. That sometimes you can make big, big mistakes and it could still be okay. Time, you know, if you take the time to like apologize or tell the truth and work it out, it'll be hard, but
Yeah.
it'll be okay. And in the end, it might even be better. You might
Right?
have a stronger relationship. You might have some really fun stuff that comes out of it.
Yeah. You can go forward. You can
Yeah,
figure things out and still be friends. And
totally.
there are going to be hard parts about friendships. There's going to be hard parts about family. We need to
Yeah,
hear these things and we need to go
yeah,
forward
yeah,
because if we don't, we're not going to have very healthy relationships, even if we keep
totally.
making new ones. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've told you what I want for you in the future as a writer. Now you tell us.
Yeah.
Can you share what's next? What are you working on?
Yeah, you know what? I'm working on an adult novel right now
Okay.
about a 16-year-old Iranian girl
Okay.
and who falls in love and then comes to America. And I'm also kind of working on, thinking about my next middle grade novel.
Nice. Because
And
we
so,
need more from you. We can't stop
thank
there.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm
Good.
excited to like tell stories. I love middle grade. I love it. And I love, kids talking to kids about it. And I'm really excited to go to schools and
Good.
I'm going to a couple schools. I've already done some virtual stuff with middle school kids, which has been wonderful. So I'm I'm
Good.
I'm thrilled about it.
There's so much to share out there. Thank you for doing this. Can you share one of the books that you've loved that's a children's book?
Absolutely. I could share a bunch, but I will share one.
Okay.
So, Jawbreaker
Ah,
by Christina Wyman is so great. I know it came out a couple of years ago, and she has a new book that's coming out, Breakout. She
yes.
just came out. I
Just
haven't read that one
tomorrow,
yet.
I think. Yes, it'll be
Yeah,
out by the time this is up.
yeah,
It is out. Blue
yeah,
Dress and Job
exactly.
or Blue Dress and
Yeah,
Breakout will both be out.
Breakout. But Jawbreaker is so great. The reason I love it, first of all, Christina Wyman is a wonderful person and friend.
Oh,
She's
good.
been really really kind to me, and so I really appreciate that as an author and just a person. But I loved her book because it tackled some really difficult things in a way that didn't shy away from
Oh,
the harder parts.
right.
The relationship of not just the sisters,
Oh
which
my
was hard.
More that sister relationship,
I
right?
know. But what I cared about more was the way she saw her parents struggle.
Yeah.
And parents do struggle, and kids see it, and they internalize it, and it really affects them at
Yeah.
school and at home. And the way that she showed us that slowly, slowly throughout the piece and brought it to a place where it was all from her point of view, seeing her parents, and at the end, they find a way to talk to each other. And that's really important. And it is a great book, and she's a great writer. So I love Jawbreaker. And I'm excited to read her other books.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Yes, I love Christina Wyman. We actually have quite a feisty interview, me and her. So from last year,
Yeah, I
it's
love that.
we get not like heated, like mad at each other, but we're just so passionate talking
Yeah,
about what we
yeah,
feel.
yeah.
So,
I love
yes,
that.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being so raw, sharing with us, and then just with the
Yeah.
world through Blue Dress. It is so wonderful.
Thank you so much, Karen. I
I
appreciate it.
love the way it all came around. We didn't even talk about the dress too. You guys, you got to go read this because the dress, you think at the beginning that the dress is just in the beginning, and there's so much about the dress and all it symbolizes.
Yeah.
So sorry, I was done, but I'm not. Okay. Did you have a dress?
Yes. My
So
mom sewed me a blue dress when
it
I was
was
a
blue too.
teenager.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Uh,
And when I was in art class freshman year of high school, I did a pastel drawing of this blue dress, and I still have that drawing.
oh,
Um,
cool.
I know. She didn't make it, like in the first scene, the mom makes it a little tight for
Yeah.
Yasmin. My mom didn't do that, but I loved that blue dress, and I had it for so many years, and I really wanted to like kind of use that as that relationship and symbolism between the mom and the daughter.
Oh, there's so much symbolism in clothing too. Oh, I loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you guys,
Yeah.
you gotta go read this. It's just fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rebecca. That's
Thank you
wonderful.
so much.